Well, good evening, ladies. Welcome to the YL OpNet. This is Catherine, AC4YL Net Control for this evening's net. We meet every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Echolink ALARA Conference node. Be sure to invite all YLs you know to join us. We ask that only YLs or female ham radio operators check in and participate. The purpose of this net is to encourage you to become and stay active with amateur radio, help each other enhance our operating knowledge and skills, and have fun. During the net, feel free to join us in the NFARL Do Drop In chat room by opening any web browser and going to nfarl.dodropin.org. Just put your name -- call sign in the box and click log in. YLs who would like to check in, please give us your call sign, name, and current location. And don't forget that there is a 3 to 4 second delay when transmitting through Echolink. This is Catherine, AC4YL. We will now begin taking check-ins. Please call now.
KA7SKY, Sky and Gardner, Washington.
Victor Alpha 3, Whiskey Hotel Uniform, Carroll, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
KW1YL, Brenda, New Haven, Connecticut.
MM0RKN, Carrie, and I'm in Motherwell, which is near the city of Glasgow in Scotland.
W1AYL, Ann in New Hampshire.
Kilo Alpha 1, United Lima November, Nisi, Massachusetts. And I hope to see all those New England YLs in Boxborough on Saturday at 3 at the YLRO session.
Okay, very good. Good evening, ladies. Let's see who all we have here so far. So, we have Lauren, KC9VHV in Illinois. Good evening. Good to hear you this evening. Sky, KA7SKY, joining us from Washington. It's good to hear you. Carol, VA3WHU in Ontario, Canada. Good evening. Brenda, KW1YL, joining us from Connecticut. Good evening, Brenda. And W1AYL, joining us from New Hampshire. Welcome. And Carrie, MM0RKN in Scotland. Good evening to you. It's nice to have you join us for the first time here on the net. We're glad to have you here. And Nisi, KA1ULN, joining us from Massachusetts. Nice group. I think we have some other YLs who haven't had a chance to check in yet. So if you would like to check in, please go ahead and do so. And it doesn't matter where you are. So if you are a YL or female amateur radio operator listening in on the Bedford, Virginia repeater, you're more than welcome to check in. So it doesn't matter where you are or how you're connected. If you would like to check in, please call now.
AE7MB, Margaret, Battleground, Washington.
Okay, very good. So also joining us this evening is Margaret, AE7MB in Washington. Good evening to you. And I see Susie has popped in. N8CGM out of Ohio. Good evening, Susie. So good to see you on here as well this evening. So nice group. And we may have others that pop in as we continue the net. That seems to be the case, especially during the summer months when everybody's busy doing activities while we have extended daytime. So that's very good. So nice group so far. And let's see how we're doing. Melanie's also here with us, a G4YL. Here in Georgia. Good evening. And so I think that is everyone. Okay, awesome. All right, so what we did last week is we went down the list of check-ins and gave everybody an opportunity to share with us what your first amateur radio setup was. So when you got your license and you either first got set up on Echolink, maybe that was your first setup, or perhaps you purchased a radio, either a small handheld unit, or perhaps you went out and jumped in with both feet and ran out and got you a full base station radio. So, you know, we just went down the list and shared that last week, and some of you gals that are on this evening didn't get a chance to do that last week either because you weren't on last week, or we ran out of time to get to you. So what we're going to do this evening is we're going to go down the list of check-ins and give everybody a chance to tell us how you're doing and what amateur radio activities you've been up to lately over the past week or two, or up and coming that you're looking forward to either this weekend or over the next week. So any amateur radio activities you'd like to tell us, and or if you have any announcements, news, or anything that you want to share with the ladies here on the net, we're just going to go down the list and give everybody a chance to do that. And if we did not hear from you last week on your first amateur radio setup, let me pause for a reset here. There we go. Almost missed that. If you weren't on last week or you didn't get an opportunity to tell us what your first setup was, then you can also do that as we go down the list. So again, anything that you have for the group this evening. So what I'd like to do, as we have some new people on this week, is I'll start off and tell you what my first setup was, and I apologize to those that were on last week and already heard this. But so when I first got my license here in the United States, of course we have 3 amateur radio license levels. We have a technician, current I should say. We have a technician class license, which is your first license class. Then there's the general class license, and then there's amateur extra. So those are the 3 current license classes that you can actually go and test for. And so when I got my technician class license and I went and took the test, one of the volunteer examiners there who graded my exam encouraged me to purchase an inexpensive handheld radio that had come out fairly recently to get started, and it would allow me to connect up to repeaters in the area and kind of get my feet wet on local amateur radio operations. So plus it was an inexpensive way to get started. So that's my first radio was a handheld radio. But he also encouraged me to not just get the radio, but I would also need, if I planned on using it in my vehicle, it was also recommended to get a mag mount antenna to go outside of the car, on top of the car, so that I could actually reach those repeaters instead of using the rubber duck antenna, as they say, that comes with the handheld. So that's what I did. So my first setup was actually a handheld with a mag mount antenna in the car. And from there, I then borrowed a radio from the local amateur radio club that helped me also set up an antenna in the backyard. Let me pause for a reset. So with the help of my local ham radio club, I was able to borrow an HF radio, and they also helped me set up my first HF station. So that was the next step. And with that, I was able to start making HF contests. I was also invited over to a local ham home QTH to see what contesting was all about. So I got a lot of exposure fairly quickly in the first 6 to 8 months. But that was my first setup, from a handheld with a mag mount in the car to a borrowed HF radio in the home with an antenna out in the backyard. So that was my first setup, and both 2-meter 440 and then HF. So we'd like to hear what your first setup was, in addition to any news, updates, anything else you have for the group. So let me see who we have first on our list. Lauren, who checked in and was short time. Hopefully, Lauren, you're still with us. But any news, updates, announcements, anything you want to share with the group, what you've been up to, and if you want to share what your first amateur radio setup was, we'd love to hear that as well. So, KC9ZHV, the mic is yours from AC4YL and the net. Okay, I know Lauren said she had some stuff that she was also working on, so she might be, have stepped away to take care of some things. So with that, we'll go to Sky, and Sky, I see that she put in the chat here she can't speak currently, but her first setup was a Baofeng, so a handheld as well, and then a Yaesu 7900. And now Sky has an ICOM IC 7300 and is working on learning CW. I think Sky enrolled in the CW Ops Academy to learn CW and has been having some fun doing that. So very good, Sky. Well, thanks for putting that in the chat so we could share it with the group, and we're glad to pass that on. All right, let's see. Next up, so Carol, how have you been? What have you been up to lately, and what was your first setup? CA3WHU, AC4YL in the group.
Victor Alpha 3, Whiskey Hotel Uniform. Yeah, I'm coming along. My medical issues are getting better, of course, with the physiotherapy that they're having me work on some issues that I've had medically. Anyway, my first setup, as I said last week, was my Kenwood TS3. This is the 350 or the 450S. Since then, I've acquired a Yaesu FTX 1200, and I also have the Flex 3000, and I don't have any ICOM products at the moment. I do have, like I put in the chat, I have the Yaesu handheld, the FT70R, which I've just acquired. I have the 65R, and then we went to a Hamfest, and radio was the only at the moment. Durham Radio, that used to be, and went out of business. They Toronto, if we need to look at any radios, when it's quite a drive-in to Radio World. They're the only distributors in Canada at the moment that sell any ham radio gear. But Pierre's very good that works there. If there is an amateur radio hamfest in Ontario, and Radio World is distributing at it, they have a booth. You can call them and they will bring you the products that you'd like to buy from them. If you will ring them up and say, I'd like to buy something from you, they'll bring it to the Hamfest for you and you can pick it up there, so it's really good. The 15th of September, there's a Hamfest in New York State coming up. I'm not sure if Brian and I will go to that. We'll see if our Victor Alpha 3 Tango United radio, Amit, whether he's going to go to it or not, because we usually go as a threesome to any ham radio fest. And then in October, it's the Hamilton Amateur Radio Club's Hamfest, so I don't know if anybody from New York State is, or anybody close by wants to come up to that. It'll be nice. So yeah, it was a Kenwood that I first acquired, and I do still have it. Over.
Okay, very good, Carol. So out of the radios that you have played with so far in your amateur radio experience, do you have a favorite or one that you that you like better than the other ones? And if so, is there a, why is that kind of your favorite? Do you find it was the easiest one to operate, or the most functional, or whatnot, Carol? And thanks for telling us about the Hamfest too. It's always good to hear what's going on up where folks are. Back to you, Carol.
Yeah, Victor Alpha 3 Whiskey Hotel Uniform. Yeah, I purchased my Flex 3000 from VE3QE. Victor Alpha 3 Whiskey Hotel Uniform. Yeah, not too sure what happened there. I guess I got cut off somehow. I purchased my Flex 3000, I've had it a couple of years now, from VE3QEE, a member of the Hamilton Amateur Radio Club, Marty. And so, and he sold me the Flex 3000. So it's a computer that only operates the Flex 3000. You can't go on to use it as a computer for other internet. Specifically, and I use that a lot. I have a phone for it as well. I forget what it's called now. So like microphone for it. Computer on, and I turn my Flex on, and I find that I use that a lot. I don't know if anybody's familiar with a computer-generated radio program called CQ100. For anybody that's living in an apartment, or anybody that can't have an antenna anyhow in their backyard or in their apartment building or in their condo or wherever they live, there is a program on that you can use with your Windows computer called CQ100. And we have a lot of friends that are condo bound, apartment bound. They're amateur radio people, but they don't have a setup anymore. They don't have a house. So generally retired people that have moved on, they've sold the house and so on. So CQ100 is a computer generated radio, and it actually works quite well. And Cormac Technologies is where you get in touch with Douglas. It's $39 a year, and it's actually quite nice. So for the winter months, when you've got more time, obviously, to go on to different radio programs and stuff. And the Clarinet, it started up again in September, so active, of course, with the Canadian Ladies Amateur Radio Association is there as well. So yeah, I do use my Flex 3000 a lot. I am probably going to sell my first radio, the Kenwood. Over.
Okay, very good, Carol. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with the group. And yeah, I had a feeling you were going to enjoy that Flex radio. I know you've talked about it quite often when you guys were looking to get it, and we're really excited. And I think you had some issues with it, and then you got some repair work done on it, and that all ended up working out for you, and it's back in business and back up on the air. So that's awesome, Carol. Thanks so much for sharing all your experiences there. We're glad your health is on the mend and things are going well there also. And it's funny you mentioned the CQ100. I had stumbled across that a while back and completely forgot about it. I thought it was kind of interesting. So I did put a link in for CQ100, and I think that's the site for it. So Carol, you can correct me if I'm wrong there, or put in a different link in there. So CQ100 radio, qso.net/programs.html. Gives you the features and specs, and there's a video demonstration. You can download the manual. So anything you want to know about it is right there on that page, so check it out. But thanks, Carol, for sharing that with the group. It's always nice to hear other tips and ideas and experiences from you gals. It really makes this net a lot of fun, so thank you so much. Nisi had a long day today, so Nisi, would you like to go next? We can jump down to you real quick since you might not make it through the net as you're tired. So, Nisi, would you like to go next? A1ULN AC4YL in the group.
Thanks, Kat. KA1ULN Nisi. Yeah, and I just came from physical therapy, so I'm very relaxed. So I think I mentioned just real quick I didn't really have a HT. I got my HF rig that I still got now, 30 years later, and it still works beautiful. It's an ICOM, not a Yaesu. It's an ICOM and it works beautiful. And I love it. It does everything my Elecraft does. It just doesn't do 30 and 60. And I guess all you do is snip two connectors and you could have 30 and 60. That's what I hear on most older rigs, even on the older Kenwoods. If you snip, a couple of wires, and you could get 30 and 60 on older rigs. I do have a ball peen now, but I only use that for emergency. I really use the flashlight more than the radio. I do have a DMR radio, which I love. It's the UHF version. I really would like to get the dual band, the UHF, VHF, DMR. Yeah. So nice to see everybody on the net. Nice to hear everybody. So this weekend is Boxborough. Let me just reset real quick. So this weekend is Boxborough, www.boxborough.org, boxboro.org, in Massachusetts. Boxborough, Mass. And I actually heard that ICOM and Kenwood's not coming. Elecraft will be there. All the antenna guys will be there. And then we have a big flea market. And so most of the time, I will be on the main door Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. But the rest of the time, YLs, I am VE, and it is so good when a YL is taking their test and they see a YL at the test session. They feel so relaxed. I don't know if any other YL has ever told you that. Hope everybody is VEs here. You don't have to be extra class. You can be a VE being a general. So I encourage all YLs to be VEs and to get out there and go to the VE sessions. I swear to you, more YLs will take the class and pass. They feel very relaxed when they see a YL at the test session. And I always approach them. and make them feel comfortable. So with that, everybody have a great week and push those PTT buttons. Kat, you're doing an awesome job. Thank you so much. AC4YL KA1ULN. Back to net.
For KDA, Kilo 4 Tango Delta Alpha Mobile.
Okay, very good, Nisi. Sorry, I had to wait for my computer Echo Link to catch up. Sometimes it falls behind there. due to internet connections a little delayed, so my apologies there. But thank you, Nisi. Lots of good information, and thanks for sharing your first setup. So to reiterate, Boxborough Hamfest in Massachusetts going on this weekend, and one of these years I'll actually make it up to visit, so that'll be fun. We'll be sure to let you know, Nisi, so we can have an eyeball QSO and catch up. That'd be nice. Let's see. Oh, and your comments about volunteer examiner, couldn't agree more. I think when you have a YL that is there to assist on the team, and you have women that come in to take their amateur radio exam, I agree. I think it makes a nice difference, especially here in with our local ham group. We've got a great group of volunteers that come in and show up for the test sessions. We have a test session the second Saturday of every month here in Alpharetta, Georgia, and there's a really nice group, nice large group, and that are regular volunteer examiners that show up, and most of them are OMs, and that's great. And but there is one YL, Martha W4MSA, is a regular at the VE test sessions, and either myself and or Melanie are starting to go as well whenever we can, depending on work schedules. So I'm hoping to go help out again this weekend. So looking forward to that. It's fun. It's easy to help out, and the VE team is usually more than happy to help you if you've never assisted and it's your first time helping out at a volunteer examiner or test session. They're more than happy to help you, guide you along and what you need to do and how it works, and that makes it all the more fun to help out. And as Nisi said, it's great encouragement to any of the women that are there testing to have one or two YLs there on the team, just knowing that, hey, there are women that play radio. Okay, sorry about that. I had to pause for a reset there. All right. So very good, Nisi. Thanks so much for your comments, and at least you'll have a nice, relaxing evening, and you can kind of unwind and settle in. So thanks so much for being here. We appreciate having you as always, and thanks for your comments as well. All right, so going back to the list here, Brenda's up next, KW1YL. Brenda's up in Connecticut. Brenda, what's going on with you? I know you posted some photos up on Facebook of your makerspace project that you guys have been working hard to get an amateur radio station and antennas working and set up there. But along with that, feel free to comment on that and anything else that's going on. And your first setup, KW1YL, AC4YL with the group.
This is KW1YL. Well, I'm doing great, and I'm really looking forward to Boxborough. I have a list of 8 YLs that said they would be there, and I expect to meet some of them tomorrow and the rest on Saturday at the YL event if they come late and I don't get to meet them tomorrow. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I always have gone in the fall to the Near Fest, and some of them were there like last fall, but I didn't know anybody. I didn't get on this net until sometime last fall, and I just didn't know them. So now I'm just going to meet people, and one of them is Nisi, and I'm just so excited about that. I just can't even tell you. So anyway, now what I've been up to, yes, I've been working on the makerspace with my OM, K1RSU, and I did post pictures, and it is on Facebook, so anyone that hasn't already friended me, please friend me, and you can see the pictures. I accept all YLs. I love to have YL friends. And I think maybe I should pause for reset just a second.
Okay, Brenda, I think you said you were going to reset, but haven't heard you come back. Hopefully it's not on my end. But go ahead, Brenda, KW1YL, AC4YL in the group.
Okay. I guess I was talking, I came back, but I wasn't back. Okay. I'm still learning. Anyway, I wasn't on the net last week because we went to a Cajun Music Festival. So my first radio was a Bao Feng, and I believe that's the correct Mandarin pronunciation. Bao means bag, and Feng means wind, like feng shui. And anyway, when I got my general last year, I got my Yaesu 991A, and now I have my extra. So I'm on UHF nets every night, and I'm net control for one. You know, we have a great antenna for UHF, but we don't have an HF antenna yet, so we're working on that, and hope soon, but I don't know how soon that'll be. So that's what I'm up to, and I'll go back to net control now. I hope you heard that. KW1YL, back to net control.
All right, very good, Brenda. Yeah, we got you that time, but awesome, thanks. And so awesome, so I'm excited you get to meet all those gals at Boxborough. I hope you all have time to hang out and chat for a while and maybe go to dinner or something. That's awesome. We'll have a lot of fun, take a lot of pictures, post them on the YLOpsGroups.io page. Put those Boxborough pictures up there. Just create a new photo album up there, and you can upload photos there so we can see the gang all there hanging out and having fun at a ham fest. That is so cool. And yeah, you guys have been working real hard on that makerspace for sure. And I'm sure Nisi would be happy to help y'all set up a dipole wire antenna for your HF set up so you can get up on the air. Inexpensive and working system. And, you know, you can also do the really inexpensive ham stick dipole as well. That does work. It does work. Check out Melanie's QRZ page, AG4YL. She's got photos and basic instructions on how to set one up and what you need. And if you have questions about it, you can certainly email her at ag4yl@arrl.net. And I am sure she'll be more than happy to help you with any details on that antenna setup. It's very inexpensive and easy to do. And of course, there's always the wire dipole, extremely inexpensive and easy to do as well. So awesome. So good to hear from you, Brenda. And we're glad to have you here with us. All right, next up, Ann, W1AYL. Ann, what's been going on with you? How are you? And what was your first amateur radio setup? W1AYL, AC4YL, and the group.
Thanks, Catherine. This is W1AYL. I'm doing fine, thanks. My first radio about 2 years ago when I got my technician license was a dual band, a Yaesu FT7900. And simultaneously, we got a used 2-meter in my husband's truck, and we would spend time, you know, he would drive out somewhere, and I'd be here at the home base to see on Simplex how far I was able to reach him, and we did that for a while. And last year, about a year ago, I got my general, and we got an ICOM IC 718. It's an older model, it's very basic, but I thought it might be a good first radio for me. Haven't been doing that much with it lately, but I am going to Boxborough on Saturday, so I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully I can get myself back in the groove to start doing something with the radio. I did buy the books to study for my next level, but I haven't gotten into it yet, but we'll see. So anyways, that's all that's going on here. This is W1AYL, back to net.
Fantastic, Ann. And yeah, that ICOM 718 is a great rig. In fact, it's still around and you can still buy it, a brand new one. They still make them and they've been around for a long time. So it's obviously a solid radio to be around for as long as it has and still be able to buy a new one. I guess it's kind of like the Yaesu 857D is another radio. It's been around a long time, solid. Lots of people love that radio. So awesome, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. And I'm sure that Brenda is excited to be able to get with you on the weekend at the Boxborough Hamfest. Fantastic. And as far as studying for your next level license, this is for any YL that is on this net that is interested in upgrading your amateur radio license class. Highly recommend hamstudy.org. Hamstudy.org is fantastic. It is basically flashcards, digital flashcards in a sense. Basically, it's multiple choice that gives you the question pool, and you can break it down by element. So you don't have to study all of the questions in the entire question pool for that exam license class level. You can just study it in portions and go through the practice of answering those multiple choice questions through that method. Now, highly recommend that you have it show all of the answers, because when you get the test, when you go to take actual tests, you will see all of the answers. So it helps to see what your choices are going to be. And the nice thing is the question pool and all of the answers match exactly what you will see on the exam. So there won't be a surprise multiple choice that you didn't see on your practice exams. Everything matches. So it's a great tool. You can track your progress, sign up for a free account, and it will keep track of which part sections you're having the most trouble with, and you can go back and study those more in depth with whatever other study tool you choose to use. Let me pause for a reset. Okay, there we go. Got the reset going. You can study each of those in sections, and you can also take practice exams. And again, you can have it list all of the distractors there for you so that you can learn to recognize the correct answer as you go. So it's a great tool. Again, you can use it in addition to or solely as your study, however you learn. Everybody learns different ways. Some people prefer a book. Gordon West published some great books. Lots of people use those. There are several other books and study guides that are out there. If you're not sure, check with your local amateur radio club. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to help you in experimenting with various study methods. So you just have to pick the one that works best for you. But again, hamstudy.org is free and is a great tool. I used it and Melanie used it as well as we were studying for our extra class exams, which is the highest level and the most difficult of the license class here in the United States. So again, best of luck to you, Ann, and be sure and let us know how that goes when you go and take your test. Awesome! Okay, next up is Carrie, MM0RKN, over there in Scotland. And Carrie, I understand it is nice and early on a Friday morning for you right now. So we are really, really glad. It's a treat to have you here with us on the Wild OpNet. And we're here every Thursday evening, Friday morning, depending on where you are. And so if you'd like to come on and tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe how you got started in amateur radio, anything else you'd like to share with the group here, and what various amateur radio activities that you enjoy participating in. So MM0RKN, AC4YL with the group. My name is Catherine. Over to you. Okay, AC4YL here, just I'm checking here. So Carrie, MM0RKN. Apologies if you're transmitting, I'm not copying anything, but if you'd like to come in and tell us a little bit about yourself and your ham radio experience, we'd love to hear from you. MM0RKN, AC4YL in the net.
MM0RKN, just checking, are you copying me now? Yep, just checking, are you copying me now?
Yes, Carrie, we're copying you just fine. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I seem to be having some internet issues today. And yeah, I've been licensed now for about 10 years. I've been interested in radio pretty much since about the age of 5 or 6 years of age. And I started off, I had a radio, just a normal radio, and I was really intrigued at listening to the local police station. And I was always getting told off for doing it. My mum and dad weren't too keen on me doing that when I was about 5 or 6 years old. And it kind of pretty much as went on throughout, and since then it took me until the age of 27 to actually get going to the radio club. I did feel a little intimidated as it was all men that were in the hobby locally, and then basically in the space of 12 months I did my 3 levels of licence. Here in the UK you have to sit 3 different licences, so now I've got what they would class as the full call. And then also met my husband at the local radio club, so I get more than I bargained for. I didn't just get a radio licence, I got a marriage licence as well. And my main interest in the radio, digital modes. I work digital modes on HF. Right, I like my Q365, PSK and all those kind of modes. And I'm also very big on these digital modes, Echolink, Fusion, D-Star, any of those kind of modes. My favourite kind of type of radio is a handheld radio. There's a good reason for this. I've got a toddler son, Scott his name is, he's 3 years old almost, and if I get into the shack I can't get to play radio basically, so the kind of radio like this where I can link into a system and a handheld, I can put the handheld away up high and Scott can't get near it, so it's pretty good for that. And I think you were asking about the first radio I purchased. My first radio when I was licensed was a battered Yaesu 857 and a ATAS 120 antenna. At the time I had a bright red Mini Cooper, and I fitted both of the devices in my Mini Cooper, and I spent a full summer basically up my very high hill and operated the world on it. I had a great summer that summer when I was young and free HI. Anyway, back to net control.
Okay, very good, Carrie. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's so good to hear from you and have you with us on the net. Great story. Enjoyed hearing that. And yeah, we were just talking about the 857D earlier and how lots of people have it and really enjoy that radio very much. It's very versatile. It's a 2-meter, 440, and HF all in one package. Mobile radio, small, and lots of people have been very happy with it for many years. So it's great to hear your story, Carrie. Thank you so much for being here. Let me pause for reset. Okay, nothing like getting 2 licenses in one either, right? That's great. Awesome, Carrie. Well, again, I hope you can come back and hang out with us here on the net. often. We are always glad to have you here. And I know this is your first time on the net. Just so you know, sometimes we have some gals on here from the UK. Jenny gets on here, M0HZT, fairly regularly, and Shirley VK5YL over there in South Adelaide, or Adelaide, South Australia, will join us. And every once in a while we get the pleasure of Yukiko 7K4TKB joining us from Tokyo, Japan. So plus all these wonderful gals that are here with us this evening. We have a great group that pop in here whenever they can, and it's wonderful to have everybody here. So thank you, Carrie, again for joining us and sharing your story. It's good to hear from you. And let's see, next up on our list is, we've already gone to Nisi. Margaret, AE7MB, how are you? What have you been up to? And I think we did get to you last week, but please, for the other gals that are here this week that weren't on last week, tell us perhaps what your first setup was as well. AE7MB, AC4YL in the net.
Okay, good evening, ladies. I want to also comment about women at the VE session. And I can't agree more with Nisi. Having women at the VE session gives women an idea that it's not just for the boys. The other thing that I do is that when a lady has passed their first exam, I have a handout with all of the YL nets that I know about, including this one. And I give it to her and say, you know, once you get your call sign, you can join us. And a lot of them have. So that's my plug. Now, I got my license back in 1976, and in those days, all of the radios were crystal controlled. I had a handheld, which we called a brick because it was heavier than a brick. It was about 12, 14 inches tall, about 3 inches wide, and about 3 inches thick. So it didn't really fit in your pocket. It didn't fit in your purse. It didn't even fit in my briefcase that I was carrying at the time. We also had ICOM equipment, and we've sort of stayed with ICOM and Yaesu equipment over the years. My husband has been a ham since 1968, so I have a built-in Elmer, which is really, really nice. Let's see, what else? You know, that was a long time ago, so I don't really remember too much about what we had at the time. I now have a little bowfang that I use for public events, public service events, like parades and that sort of thing. And that's really nice to have, and it's really easy to get involved with it. We have a lot of people on our 2-meter YL net that are using a bowfang or another handheld. So that's a good way to get started. It's the sort of the training wheels, if you will. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Catherine. This is AE7MB over to AC4YL.
Okay, fantastic, Margaret. Well, thank you so much for doing a recap on your first setup, and it's great to have you here as well, and glad you guys are doing well out there in Washington. And just as a reminder to the YLs here on the net that may not be aware, Margaret runs the net right here on this conference, the ALARA conference node, called the MinnowNet, and it is mostly the gals up in the northwest area of the United States. But of course, Margaret invites any YLs that want to come on and support that net. Perhaps you can't make this one, and you're like, oh man, I really want to get on the net and say hi to some gals. You know, or you can, of course, always be on both nets if you can. But her net, the MinnowNet, will kick off in about an hour and 35 minutes. So you can always come back on and join those gals and say hello over there. I'm sure Margaret and the other YLs there on the MinnowNet would love to have you on and visit with them also. So thank you so much, Margaret. And I think you bring out some great points there about the VE sessions and encouraging the gals and telling them maybe you have a flyer put together of some YL nets that you know of, and you gals can, of course, feel free to put this one on there. And, you know, anything to encourage newly licensed amateur radio operators and female amateur radio operators to get active, because, you know, you can get your license and not do anything with it, which so many have, unfortunately. And so we want to, when we're there helping them get their license, let's, you know, share contact information with them and help them get on the nets and get active, and maybe help them get started. Perhaps assist them in getting Echolink on their phone. Most of them will have a phone or tablet with them. Let me pause for a reset. But by getting them started and helping them get going and getting active, they're more than likely to do something with their license, whatever ilk that might be, whether they only do net, or maybe they only get on their local repeater in the area for a while. It doesn't matter. You know, you do whatever you enjoy doing most, because amateur radio is a hobby and you can do so many things and there's so many activities. And so just encouraging them and getting started is certainly a help, in addition to being there just when they're taking their tests. So thanks, Margaret, for those additional comments and tips just by sharing what you gals do out there. So thank you. All right, well, we've reached the end of our current check-in list. Do we have any YLs that have joined us that have not checked into the net yet this evening and would like to do so? Please call now, AC4YL.
Victor Alpha 3, Whiskey Hotel Uniform. Nobody picked up that break, so I'm just going to add a little thing here. If you're Canadian amateur radio licensed, you need to take only 2 exams here, the basic and the advanced. And you can do your CW or Morse code after if you prefer. So my OM and I are currently working on getting our advanced. We both have our basic. I got 87% and my OM got 89. You need 80% to broadcast on HF, so pretty good that we passed. Both of us, he's had his license 4 years, I've had mine now 2. Just an FYI, if you ever have any Canadian people on here that are interested in, or are listening in, that are interested in getting your amateur radio license, the Hamilton Amateur Radio Club here in the city is running a course at Westdale High School, and it starts on September the 11th, and it's $100. That includes the book and the course, and the book is $49.95 for the course, so you pay $50 for the course. Any Canadians listening in the area want to come out and take the course, would be great. I know if you want to contact me by email, I do have some access to the gentleman that's running the course at the club. So just wanted everybody to know that that's how the certificate works here in Canada. Okay, and over and back to the net. Thank you, Catherine.
Okay, Carol, very good. Well, thank you. It's great to have that additional information as well. And, you know, you can have amateur radio license in more than one DXCC or country or however you want to break it up. So you can have an amateur radio license here in the United States as well as a Canadian license. You can also, really get licensed anywhere. So that's really cool. All right, thanks, Carol. Okay, anybody else have comments or announcements or anything for the group this evening that you forgot to mention or that you'd like to add based on anything else? Please call now, AC4YL.
AG4YL here. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right on in and pick this up. I hope my audio is decent. I'm using my phone today, so I hope it's okay. I couldn't agree more with a lot of what is being said about the test sessions and becoming a volunteer examiner and interacting. I told a little of my story last week, so I apologize for those that already heard this, but when I decided to study for my ham radio license, I did so that I could get on to this net at Echolink. I didn't have gear, a rig, I didn't know anybody. I was just kind of like out there on my own. I didn't know any hams or anything like that. My father and mom were both hams, but that was way back in the day. My father was a silent key in 1972. So I was kind of swimming by myself, and I wanted to get on this net, and I found some great resources. I used the hamstudy.org for my tech and my general, which I took at the same session, and I found it really very, very useful for me. Again, as Catherine mentioned, everybody kind of studies and does that in a different way, but in addition to flashcards, there's also explanatory notes on the back of the flashcard, so you can flip it over and find out why the answer is the answer that it is. And if you want to expand any of those notes, you can add to those notes as well. It's very interactive. And they also give you, if you just want to see a whole list of the questions and answers with distractors, you can gaze through the whole question pool that way. And you can take practice tests on there. It's entirely free. It's a very nice layout, very easy to maneuver. You don't get, banner ads popping up. It's very clean. You can even do this on your phone or your tablet. It's very mobile friendly. So I'd recommend it for anybody that wants to study, either use it by itself or use it in addition to other study materials you may have. I'm pretty sure that you'll find the flashcards are addictive. Register, it's free, and it will track your progress and what you've seen and how your progress is doing. And it is adaptive, meaning that if you get one of the answers wrong, it will cycle back through and pitch that question to you randomly more often and until you answer it correctly. I don't know how many times, but it really will help reinforce the answers. It won't just, I'm just going through the flashcards, 1 through whatever, through the whole question pool. It doesn't work that way. It's very adaptive. And to top it off, you can take one group at a time, like the T1 group, the T2 group, the T3. You can take each piece of it one group at a time. I'm going to pause for a reset. Okay, AG4YL here returning. But when I went and took my test, I had a wonderful Elmer NC4E who is just recently a silent key. As soon as I passed my test, he told me 2 things. He was on this net. I said, I'm already planning on it. And he said, 2, go on the internet and get a bow thing, very basic handheld radio, get on a Baofeng, and you can listen to what's going on in the local repeaters, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. So he was very instrumental in making sure that I got involved and active in amateur radio, and I really appreciate that. I guess you could say he was my first Elmer, that he was very excited about making sure that I did something with my license, that I got on Echolink and that I got on the air. That brings another thing up. A lot of people don't know about Echolink, and Catherine and I have done forums on Echolink, which we're going to start picking up hopefully next year. Doing forums on Echolink, a lot of people, both YLs and OMs, don't know what it is, or they think it's not real ham radio, but it is a wonderful resource for getting on the air, for meeting other hams, for getting informed, and I would encourage anybody who knows of some new hams, if you're involved in test sessions like Margaret is, to let people know about Echolink. It's a free download, and it is not hard to figure out, and there are so many different kinds of nets and information that you can get from Echolink. You can even get the W1AW test CW runs. Pause one more time for each set. And I believe it's W1AWBCD is the conference node for W1AW. They do all of their CW tests, test runs, qualifying runs. That's the name I was looking for. The CW qualifying runs. And even if you just put it on in the background and you catch a letter here or there, it's a nice thing to hear what CW sounds like in a without any interference. No QRN or QRM can really pick up on that and listen to it. Sometimes it's nice just to put it in the background, and it helps kind of reinforce things, almost like what do they call it? Sleep hypnosis. Maybe if you played it during your sleep, you get that osmosis, and you absorb it, and you don't even know you're getting it. I don't know. But anyway, I did want to bring up those couple things. I started with Echolink, my first station, and then I got a Baofeng and a Meg mount and a little adapters to hook up the antenna, and a battery eliminator for the Baofeng, and a hand mic, speaker mic, and boy, I had a mobile setup in my car with a simple Baofeng and a antenna, and I was good to go. So I could drive to and from work, and it was a nice, inexpensive way to get started. And like Catherine, I borrowed we belong to the same club, I borrowed a HF radio, and that took Catherine and I through all of our activations for National Parks on the Air with that very simple hamstick dipole setup that she had mentioned earlier that is on my QRZ page. There's a picture and what it takes to put together. The hardest thing about using a hamstick dipole setup is tuning the stingers, is tuning those dipoles and getting them resonant. But email me at any time if you need some help. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and I've run my mouth long enough. Turn this back over to Catherine and Annette, AG4YL.
All right, very good, Melanie. Well, thanks for all that great information and encouragement, as always. It's always nice to hear from you as well, and the tips and experiences there that you have to share with the group. Susie is here with us, N8CGM. Susie, I want to make sure we give you a chance here. I know you were having some trouble getting your mic working in the past, so I wanted to see if by any chance if you've been able to get your mic hooked up and working with Echolink again or not. So Susie, if you're there and can transmit, we'd love to hear from you as well. NHCGM, AC4YL in the group. Okay, not hearing anything from Susie, but Susie, if you're out there and can hear us okay, it's great to see you on this evening, and wanted to make sure we said hello to you and pass the mic to you as well if possible. So, you know, be sure and let us know when you get that mic up and working. It'd be great to hear from you again as well. So, nice group. All right, let's see. Activities coming up this weekend in case you're looking for some amateur radio fun activities. So, there is the, let's see, WAEDX contest, Work All Europe contest, single sideband, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters. So encourage you to participate in that if you are able to do so. The exchange is simple. It's just a signal report and a serial number. And for those of you that aren't familiar, a serial number is nothing more than what contact number is that person. Are they your first contact? And you would give them a serial number of 001. If they're your 1001 contact, then that's the serial number you give them, 1001. Very simple, and of course you just go down the list there. Also this weekend is the Sorrel Field Day Contest, South Africa. Everybody can participate. It's on CW, single sideband and digital, on a 160, 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. It has a fairly simple exchange, signal report, how many transmitters. If you just got one, then it's just one. They have a breakdown of categories and the province or DX, if you're not in a province there, to exchange with them. Simple enough. Also, Ohio State Parks on the Air is going on this weekend, so if you like to chase parks, they're doing their State Parks on the Air, also counting as their TUSO party, I'm guessing here. Anybody can participate, single sideband only on 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10 meters. If you need Ohio in your log, great opportunity to do that and work someone in a park at the same time. How about that? And for those of you that are playing in the VHF world, there's the ARRL September VHF contest also going. Okay, not sure what happened, but I stopped transmitting. Maybe I accidentally hit my transmit button here. Sorry for that, ladies. But lots of amateur radio activities going on this weekend. If you're looking for something to do, you can check out the ARRL Contest Corral. You can also go to contestcalendar.com, and there's a WA7BNM contest calendar for amateur radio powered by ICOM. You can look there as well for upcoming activities on the air. Operating tip this weekend. So this comes from the ARRL contest letter that they send out. I always include an operating tip. So you can put this under your hat. Operate on the band that may close the soonest. So if you're playing in one of these contests that's operating on multiple bands, and it's getting toward gray line for you, then you want to pick the band that is going to close the soonest and work on that band first. Gives you more opportunity to make contacts on that band before it closes, and then you don't have that band option any longer. So, great tip. Especially important while we're in minimal sunspots right now and uncertain propagation conditions. You want to try and grab those multiple band contacts whenever you can. So obviously you're going to want to work the one that's going to close the soonest. Let me pause for reset. Okay, any of you ladies have any additional upcoming amateur radio contest events that I may not have mentioned that you're aware of that is coming up this weekend? Please jump on in and share that with the group here. Okay, not hearing anyone on that. Folks were talking a little bit, touched on DMR. An interesting brief news blurb on arl.org/news on digital mobile radio, and that some of their hotspots may be interfering with satellite uplinks for AO92, Fox 1D satellite. So the uplink frequency, kind of an interesting article. Again, you can check that out on arl.org/news for those that are interested in satellite operating and or DMR. Just an interesting news blurb I thought I would share with the group. Okay, with that, any other comments or questions or anything that you guys would like to bring up on the net this evening? Please go ahead and call now, AC4YL.
Okay, AG4YL here. Just a quick note, we're going to just jump ahead a couple of weeks on the weekend of September 15th. For those that might need Iowa, New Hampshire, or New Jersey to get their worked all states, the Iowa, New Hampshire, and New Jersey QSO parties will be taking place September 15th. So just wanted to kind of throw that in there to help anybody that might need it to get their worked all states. And I don't know if Catherine mentioned this, but the ARRL September HF contest is coming up on the 8th. So she might have already mentioned that, so sorry if I doubled that up. But there's a lot of really great things coming up. And I just wanted to mention that about the QSO parties. Great opportunity to get those worked all states and in different modes, because the nice thing about QSO parties is they pretty much work all modes and all contest bands. So you can, maybe you've got was on 20 and you need it on 40, or you need it on 80. Good opportunity for you to work that and get a few more states if you need them in a few different modes. So I just wanted to jump in here and mention that. I'll send this back over to Catherine and Net Control. AC4YL on the net, AG4YL.
Okay, very good, Melanie. Well, thank you very much for that additional information. Appreciate that. And I just thought of this because it's been a while since we've brought this up, and I thought that I would bring it up again this evening. But there's a really cool podcast that you gals can listen to, QSO Today, Amateur Radio Podcast. There's a lot of interesting ones there. Let me see if I can pull up this page. There we go. And there have been several YLs that have been on this. Basically what it is, let me see if I can get this thing working here. Bear with me just a minute here. Okay, so first of all, what is QSO Today? It's a podcast about amateur radio, and every week Eric, WA6IGR, also 4Z1UG, does an interview, either a leader or a mover and shaker in the amateur radio world, and it's a lot of fun. If you've never listened to one, encourage you to do so. And Eric shares with us why he does it. He says, as a kid growing up in Southern California during the 60s, amateur radio was my ticket to electronics, science, and technology. Its hams were my mentors. These interviews allow me to share the ham radio stories to inspire you to join this amazing hobby or or if you are already here, to grow in it from these stories. And it's a lot of fun if you've never listened to any of these before. Please, I encourage you to check it out. Excuse me. And I will put the link in there, or you can just Google QSO Today, and you will find it. But several people have been interviewed, including YLs, on this podcast. And let me pause for a reset here. Okay, so let me make sure I'm, good. Make sure I'm transmitting here. So again, I'll post the link in the chat, and we'll try to get it up on the Facebook group as well. And Melanie and I are going to get back on that track, hopefully, in getting those up for you gals. But he's interviewed Ellen White and April Moel, and Carol Malazzo, KP4MD as well. And I think Carol Perry, which a lot of you gals might be familiar with. She helps with the youth program at ARRL. And a few other YLs. I really encourage you to listen to some of those. They are most interesting. You can hear how these YLs got started in amateur radio and their experience along the way and the different things that they've learned and participated in over the years. Ellen White has been a ham for many, many years and has a lot of great stories and experiences actually having worked at ARRL. And it's a lot of fun. I think you'll find it most enjoyable. And for those that may listen to the YouTube recording later, if that is successful, the website is QSOtoday.com, QSOtoday.com, real easy. And if you're looking for some of the previous podcasts, if you go under podcasts, there's a drop-down menu. There's a QSO Today podcast archive, and he's got a complete list. You can get an iTunes list if you listen through iTunes, and also download the list as a PDF, and you can see all of the different interviews that he has done on QSO Today, and you can listen to any of them in the past. In fact, if you download the PDF, there are links built into it. So if you scroll down and you find someone that you want to listen to the interview with them, like Carol Malazzo's number 42, KP4MD, he interviewed her on May 22nd, 2015. You can simply click on the link next to Carol's name and listen to that podcast at any time. So check it out. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll really enjoy listening to those. Okay. With that, AC4YL here, does anybody out there have any comments or tips or questions or anything else you want to bring up on the net this evening, ladies? We'd love to hear from you. This is AC4YL. Okay, nothing heard. So, ladies, we encourage you to come back in about an hour and 5 minutes for the MinnoNet right here on the Echolink Alara Conference, if you would like, and join Margaret, AE7MB, and the gals in those various states in the Northwest United States. They'd love to hear from you and have you check in over there. Don't forget to visit and post to our OP NET Facebook group and continue net topics and questions there in between weekly nets. We also encourage you to participate and post all ham radio related questions, adventures, and anything ham radio related in the WildOpsGroups.io group page. We'd like to thank Lauren, KC9ZHV, for live streaming and recording of this net and making it available to all on YouTube whenever she is able to do so. We'd also like to thank Alara for the use of this Echolink conference node, the North Fulton Amateur Radio League for their drop-in chat room, and all who are linked in listening, YLs and OMs alike, for your ongoing support of this net. This is Catherine, AC4YL, closing out the OP NET and returning the Alara conference node back to normal use. 33 ladies, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next week. Take care.